1 year ago, Marquette changed when flames poured from the roof of Pine Ridge Apartments. The devastating blaze was a call to action for some, while others were forced to leave their homes. As of today, the state fire marshal has not released details as to what exactly caused the fire on the roof of the building. It's taken almost an entire year, but we've learned just this past week the 9th floor was approved for people to go home. We have team coverage for you tonight, beginning with Brianna McLean. She shows us how far Pine Ridge has come in the last year.
I remember I was walking down by the harbor. I got a call from my husband, and he said, "Your building's on fire."
On July 30th, 2019, just after 12:30 p.m., a fire began on the roof of the Pine Ridge Apartments. People watched as black smoke billowed into the sky. No people or animals were harmed.
The response from the emergency providers in the community was amazing and quick, and I was really relieved how little I needed to do to make sure that my tenants were safe.
No fire or smoke got into the building. However, water and foam caused severe damage to the 9th floor.
You really couldn't smell any smoke, but the ceilings were dripping, furniture was soaked. There was an inch of foam on the floor that the fire department was sweeping down the stairway. So you can see there wasn't damage down there. It was just a whole ton of water.
Mackey says not having answers for tenants' questions was extremely difficult.
When they look at you as the leader and you're not leading, it's really hard.
All tenants were displaced for months as they awaited to move back into their apartments. Those who lived on the 9th floor were recently able to finally move back in.
One of our tenants who lives on the 9th floor, Tom, spends a lot of time sitting in one of the chairs on the 9th floor and looking outside and enjoying the view. So when the first day that they were able to move back into their apartment, he not only moved his stuff back into his apartment, but went back to his chair on the 9th floor and was looking outside, watching the beautiful view. It was incredible. That was when normal hit.
Even through crisis, the tenants were brought closer together.
They were a really good support for each other. There was tenants that were providing rides because they didn't have any other way to get to the grocery store. So some bonds created with tenants. And I really do think that there's a lot more connection between the tenants than there used to be.
Community members, the Red Cross, and the Salvation Army came together to help the tenants of Pine Ridge.
You don't realize how much they do and how important they are until you depend on them. And we depended on them, and I would just like to see the community continue to support these organizations out there so that when the next crisis comes along for the next agency, they're there to provide support to them.
Reporting from Marquette, Brianna McLean, Local 3 News.
As you just heard, the Salvation Army of Marquette County was instrumental in caring for our neighbors from Pine Ridge. From beginning to end, their team was there. Local 3's Rebecca Bartlemay shows us how serving meals was just part of their mission.
Captain Doug Winters with the Salvation Army of Marquette County recalls July 30th, 2019 as a very strange day.
I was actually out to lunch with a person from out of town and discussing some fundraising things, and I was sitting downtown and I saw smoke billowing across downtown, and it wasn't 5 minutes later I got a phone call on my cell phone, hey, we've got to deploy our emergency canteen.
Within 30 minutes of that call, the Salvation Army was there with water for residents, firefighters, and police officers on scene. Then residents moved to the Superior Dome where they needed help with more than just water.
How do we feed them? And so, again, with our emergency canteen, getting some supplies and driving over there, driving right inside the dome. And it was a very simple supper that first night. It was hot dogs and chips and beverages.
During the 2-month-long care for some of these residents, the Salvation Army was there the whole time. They say working together with other entities in the community helped make operations run efficiently.
One of the key ones was American Red Cross stepped in. They were running the shelter, and just really good communication between the facility where we were at, the Red Cross, and us. We provided 3 meals a day through the whole process there, and being able to make sure that people were fed, but feeding was only part of the problem. It was others in our community that stepped in and really, supported with running the shelter, supported with being able to find new homes for folks, pet food for some of the folks that had pets. I mean, just go down the list of people who stepped in and helped.
What happened at the Pine Ridge Apartments a year ago is something out of the ordinary. They say their response to this incident helped them prepare for the COVID-19 pandemic and build new relationships to help more neighbors in need.
When COVID hit and we knew we had to start delivering food baskets, our first pilot was with Pine Ridge because we're invested with them.
Winter says one of the biggest things that has come out of this for them is building relationships with other service organizations in the county
that are ready to work together and ready to help solve the problems.
Reporting in Marquette, Rebecca Bartlemy, Local 3 News.
You heard it time and time again in these stories how our local Salvation Army and Red Cross volunteers stepped in to make a difference. When you go to upmatters.com to watch these stories, we have direct links for you to donate to their missions so they can help our neighbors in their time of need.